Matt Dog here with another video. This time, I thought it would be interesting if we saw what it would look like if Atem, the original pharaoh of the Yu-Gi-Oh series, ran Eldlich. So this is kind of a Horus Eldlich deck where I'm running like Slifer the Sky Dragon, Magical Hats, Magician's Souls. However, most of the replays that you're going to see are going to be from the Fusion Link Festival because once you hit Master 1, it's actually really hard to get good games because people will constantly quit right away if they see you resolving grass or doing anything impactful. So we're sticking with the festival, and I just think this is really funny. There's a lot of wild texts that actually work relatively well with this deck. We're going to start off with a Memento replay. Yeah, obviously the Slifer package, Magical Hats, and even Magician Souls are all techs that I've tested before in Eldlich, and like they have a certain synergies. I wouldn't say they're super optimal, but if you put them all together as sort of this like Atem, which is the true name of the pharaoh, he's not Yugi, that's the kid. Um, then you can come up with something interesting. So these are just kind of funny replays. Right now, Memento is doing their thing. I don't know what Memento's deal is. I just know they have the 5,000 attack monster that's like a real pain to deal with and that can attack all of your monsters. I also find out as I go through this duel that they have a super painful um, card in their grave where like if you try to remove a card from their grave, they special summon a bunch. They just set a trap that's going to allow them to destroy two of my cards. I'm also running Chicken Game because I want to have cards that get value off of Magician's Souls. So basically, Chicken Game lets you draw a card, and then Magician's Souls can send Chicken Game to grave to draw another card. We're also running Reasoning. We're running Illusion of Chaos so that it gets sent to grave off of Reasoning. They stole our Eldlich, which is too bad, and we kind of set a bunch of cards, but honestly, this isn't a great board. Like, what do we even have? We have our Eldliches. We don't have any interruptions yet. We just have Trap Trick, which can go into anything, and Paleozoic Marilla, which can send rollback to grave. If we had a Slifer in grave, this would have been fantastic, but that's kind of the hard thing about the Revived Skygod package, is you need both a Slifer in grave and, the actual revived Skygod itself. So they just Harpy Feather Dustered us, but we managed to get a Magical Hats in the grave, and you'll see why it has a certain value in this deck. Alright, they're doing some stuff. Skystriker Azalea. They do the right thing. They don't pop Marilla because it's immune to monster effects right now. So here we're going to roll back to copy Magical Hats. You'll see we have a beautiful Royal Rare Magical Hats. Let's see how this trap card works. Obviously in the TV show it was a spell card, but we would always use it like it was a trap card. We can choose two spells or traps from our deck and place them in the monster zone, special summon them like they're normal monsters in defense position, set a chosen monster, and then shuffle them on the field. So basically, it's like you're putting a series of hats together. In the series, obviously, he would always put his Dark Magician under one of the hats. Ironically, here, we don't care as much about protecting our one card from being destroyed. We care more about being able to set two traps from our deck. So here we chose Elemental Burst and Transaction Rollback. Even if they don't attack them and actually hit our monster, at the end of the battle phase, they'll both go to grave, which means next turn we can roll back onto an Elemental Burst and destroy their entire field, because we only copy the effect, we don't care about the cost. Obviously, transaction rollbacking onto Magical Hats doesn't matter as much. Like, we only basically got out an Elemental Burst and a rollback for next turn. But if you have Magical Hats set, then it's a lot better because you can get both a rollback and an Elemental Burst from the field. So now we go to our next turn, rollback, Elemental Burst, destroy their board. They obviously have this trap card which destroys a couple of our cards, but we're just going to recycle from the grave. We don't even care. a nice synergy that magical Magician Souls has with Diabellstar is we can send a Diabellstar to grave as a cost to summon himself. We don't use the effect to draw. And here, what we're doing is we're going into Selene, and Selene will then summon out our Diabellstar to do even more stuff. Here, unfortunately, I didn't know about a particular Memento card. So because I stole a card from his grave, he got to summon 5 monsters, and I don't think they go away at the end phase too. I just have to destroy them now. So if I had known he would do that, then I would have just used Eldlich as fuel for Selene. I wouldn't have bothered with the Dark Charmer. Whatever, we get a draw, send another rollback, we're going to blow up his board again. Access code, we're going to destroy 2 cards. And then we have another Eldlich engraved to summon him out. So I think we could have killed him here if I had known about that one card, but it's fine. You know, this is the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Every type of deck is wildly different from the other. So, you know, you're constantly in this battle to like read and know what you're dealing with. And now they're gonna like try to do stuff for a bit, but I think they either surrender or like run out of time, which is too bad. Because I think Memento might have some way to deal with this. Like, we really only have, well, we have the Elemental Burst in Grave, so we were going to blow up everything. Yeah, so yeah, they didn't really have a chance. Nice. Duel number 2. What have we got? Versus Scareclaw. Yeah, there are a lot of Scareclaw decks in this festival. Scareclaw is tricky. Using magical hats probably isn't the strategy against Scareclaw because they can attack you like 5 times and inflict piercing damage. And I think the traps that you summon from the grave are considered as having like 0 defense, so they could just instantly kill you if you use magical hats. But this is a pretty good board. We have an Omni Negate, non-targeting pop, and banish, assuming that the elixir goes through, and a board wipe, which is pretty standard. Well, they do have an Ash Blossom, which is too bad, but we do at least negate their field spell, and the Diabellstar comes back and recycles. Yeah, it's nice that we have that in the festival, even though the festival banned like Horus and stuff. They're going to take control of one of our monsters to try to make the Link 3, but we just flip everything face down. You can't make us into Link material. Yeah. So that's a pretty good example of like how most of our duels go, even though we have all of these fun techs. Usually it's just kind of the pretty standard thing where you get what you draw and then you just have to work with it. Okay, I think this might be... I don't think this is the loner. It looks like it's just a standard Predaplant deck. I think this is the one where I got the Slifer move off, though. Yeah, you usually want to go first when you do that. Ooh, mamma mia. Yeah, between Grass and Reasoning, we have a lot of ways to get Slifer in the grave. We bait out their Ash Blossom. It's too bad we didn't get a draw 2, but it's great. We get to send 3 rollbacks, and we sent the spell as well. So we don't have any cards on our field, but we milled so many important cards to our grave that it doesn't matter. In this version, I'm running more of the spell cards just so we can do stuff like this. Like, look at this. We went from having no cards, but just off of what we milled, we can set a non-targeting banish, non-targeting pop, a board wipe. We have more follow-up, and of course, in our graveyard, we can roll back, copy Revived Sky God. So normally you would want this to be on the field and then have a Slifer in the grave. We run like Foolish Burial as another way to get a Slifer in the grave more easily. However, this trap, special Slifer in the Sky God, and then each player draws until they have 6 cards. So obviously you prefer to have this going first, where you're in this situation where I have 0 cards, they have like 5 because they used a hand trap, and then they'll draw only 1 extra card, but then I'll draw 6. Eldlich goes up to having, Slifer goes up to having 6,000 attack and defense, and now anytime they summon a monster in attack mode, it's going to get killed. So they didn't read that part of Slifer, didn't remember that from the anime. They do have an imperm, though, which is too bad. Okay, Predaplant this guy. So now they're just going to try to do stuff, but it's like we have way too much advantage. If you don't kill us this turn, we have a full hand to deal with whatever you try to do. Yeah, that's what's great. It's like a floodgate and a draw six. Like, you know, it's a little hard to set up because you need both things going, but whatever. We're just gonna pop that. He's gonna destroy our Slifer in the end when you destroy him, but it doesn't matter. What's funny is because they impermed Slifer, his effect to go back to grave after he's been special summoned was negated, so we actually would have had Slifer on the following turn and could have one turn killed him. Whatever. See, that's a lot of fun. It took a while to get a replay where we got to see that. Ooh, versus um Dark Magician. Okay. So this is like the final episode of the original anime, except if the Pharaoh was Eldlich and if Yugi was playing like the Dark Magician deck, I guess. Maybe it's not at all like the finale. Whatever. Okay, what are you gonna do? Alright, Illusion, Magician's Rod. So right now we have access to our Diabellstar engine, which is great. We can also get a rollback in the grave, and we can have a draw one. Maybe we'll get a Magician's Souls to do stuff. Okay, draw one. What are we gonna get? Trap Trick's not bad. We can get our rollback in the grave. They're gonna negate us, so that's too bad. Sorry if you can hear a thunderstorm in the background, but it is what it is. Great combo. Oh, this poor Dark Magician player. Like, we're not even in the Eldritch stuff. This is just like pure trap control. Okay. And we have a Paleozoic Marilla, so we can send another rollback to grave anytime we want. Okay, they're gonna be able to fusion summon. Okay. Oh no, this poor guy. So he summons back the Dark Magician, and then maybe he makes Artemis and banishes my cards or whatever, but we just blow everything up. I love this. You can like chain Paleozoic Marilla so that Diabellstar can use the Paleozoic as a cost, and then she summons out. We have our Omni Negate, we have our roll back into Elemental Burst again. He made a huge mistake here. He activates this to set this card first, and then after that, he grabs the Dark Magical Circle that he took from the grave using Master of Chaos. So because it's a continuous trap when he activates it to activate its effect, if I destroy it, then its effect doesn't work. MST actually negates. So we blow that up, we blow up all of his other cards, and we also blow up our opponent. Get bursted. I hate to burst your bubble. Okay. Up next. Ooh, Tri-Brigade. Wow, okay. Tri-Brigade Chimera. That's an interesting combo. Yeah, we'll see how this duel goes. Yeah, I think those first couple of duels, the one with magical hats and the one with Slifer, were kind of pretty good examples of being able to take advantage of these techs. Otherwise, they're mostly like, because I'm running the 60 card deck, because I love the 60 card deck, I love the flexibility it gives you for adding a whole bunch of different tech options. I love resolving grass and reasoning, like it's just a super fun time. But because I do that, you don't access these weird little engines that or packages that I throw in as frequently. All right, so I'm pretty sure they just ended on Tri-Brigade Revolt, which is going to let them special summon the Link 4 that banishes a card. But we're just going to not care, do our thing, get a draw. Okay. They do have an Ash Blossom, that's too bad. Chicken Game is worded so you can't Ash Blossom it. Yeah, not sure if that was the right play. I think my plan was I wanted to use Monster Reborn to grab this, and then Elixir Black Awakening to get out an Eldlich, and then link them both off into the Vampire Sucker, so then Eldlich would be in the grave. And then I could get my rollback in grave by using Eldlich, but yeah, and then so before I did that, I wanted to attack to destroy it to see if I could bait out the Tri-Brigade Revolt, but I constantly forget Cursed Eldland, you cannot declare attacks except with zombie monsters, so that doesn't work. Try to summon out Elixir of Black Awakening, but before I can link it off into the Vampire Sucker, he's going to banish my Eldlich. I mean, we still have Karma Cannon, so we're not really in any danger right now against like this pure Link deck. Yeah, one thing that's nice about running this Revive Sky God package is it also has an effect to add a Monster Reborn from your deck or grave to the hand, which means we just run Monster Reborn, which is like a really nice tech. Like there are a lot of cool monsters in both players' graves that you want to special summon sometimes. They're doing their thing. Make Guardian Chimera to destroy two. That's too bad. They also have another effect. Okay, we might be in a lot of trouble here. Cursed Eldland, send a card to grave. It might have been better to send an Eldlich so that he can get our rollback in the grave, but whatever. Elixir, thank you. Anything else in the grave right now? No, not really. Okay, we get that. So we get a non-targeting banish. So we have non-targeting banish, non-targeting destroy, and rollback that maybe they'll pop with Chimera or something. Okay, searching out Chimera Fusion. They don't make a second Guardian Chimera. In their grave, they have monsters that will negate a monster effect and will negate a targeting. Luckily, these are all traps, and Conquistador doesn't target. Okay, Fusion again. Go ahead. Making so they have a bunch of fusion monsters where in the grave they can banish them to special summon from the grave or the banished zone on my turn. We just pop the Chimera. We want to protect our Eldlich so we can link it off into something interesting. Get another Conquistador. Man, I just love the grind game that Eldlich has. Okay. Link it off, get our rollback in the grave. This is nice because this is the Fusion Link Festival. We're running a lot more Link monsters, so we can like have a monster that gives us an excuse to discard a card. We don't really care about destroying their back row, but I mean it's nice to like bait it out or whatever. On the end phase, they're probably gonna special summon a couple times. Special summon from the grave. Special summon from the banish pile. And we still recycled to get another Elixir, another White Destiny. Rollback, Karma Cannon. Yeah, I think I missed the timing there. I wanted to activate Torrential Tribute, however, I activated it too late. There's the Torrential Tribute. So they try to fusion summon, but it doesn't matter. It's all going to grave. And I still have multiple cards to get an Eldlich back on the field, so I don't really care. It just sucks that I wasted one of my rollbacks last turn. I use the Elixir first in case they have an Ash Blossom, but they don't. Yeah, we're just gonna absolutely crush them at this point. Revived Sky God, without an. Oh, this is good. Okay. I think they're gonna try to. Nope. Okay. We can fusion summon out the Mad Golden Lord. That continuous spell makes it so that trap card can't activate anymore. We summon out our Eldlich. We set the monster reborn, but it doesn't come to hand because there's no Slifer in grave. We still pop their cards. Yeah, if we had had a Slifer in grave, we would have been able to special out one more monster to kill them. But it's their turn. I only have 500 life points. Okay, I guess there was nothing that they thought they could do. Yeah, I love having the Mad Gold Lord come out. Although most of the time when he does come out, it's just as like a way to quickly kill your opponent. This next duel I did in Master 1 on the ranked ladder against another Memento deck. Okay. I'm curious what happens during this duel that I wanted to record it. Yeah, the Slifer package drawing 6 is really fun. Okay, good. I think Horus has great synergy with these packages because it's a lot easier to discard cards like Slifer and you can mill through cards more quickly. Also, Cursed Eldland has great synergy with the Magician Souls package because you can get rid of it after you've added a card to your hand to get a draw two. The other thing that the Horus engine gives you is access to the zombie vampire, and you can get a mill 4 off. Let's see, what are we going to mill? Well, we got a rollback at least, and a magical hats in case we want to use that. Okay, so we got banish everything in their grave, and a non-targeting destroy, and a rollback onto not much. Okay, so we're actually not in a great spot. We don't have a ton of super powerful interruptions. Okay, so we tried to banish the 6 cards they had just sent to grave, but that didn't get us much. Okay, but we did at least mill into a Karma Cannon. Okay, they're still doing their thing. Guardian Chimera, okay. They're going to pop 1 card. They tried to pop Eldlich. Bro, you're indestructible. They do negate Duameth, which I was running in this version just because I like the higher ceiling of having the extra Duameth. Like, you never want to see it in your hand, but it's really nice to get 3 Horus monsters on the field and get a potential, like, draw 6. Pop the field spell. So they just activated an effect where every time it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing damage, and it can attack all of my monsters if it's the only monster on the field. So it was about to basically kill me, like pretty much instantly. Let's see if we have a way to get over a monster with 5,000 defense. Get a draw 2, sure, why not? Get another King Sarcophagus, of course. Zombie Vampire, he gets a mill, but there's no space to special summon. Selene, yeah, I really like Selene. Anytime you can have the Selene access code spot, then you're going to be doing really well. Access code's obviously going to pop the 5,000 defense monster, and then we're going to swing for game. Easy money. Total domination. Okay, last duel. I guess this must be the loner deck. Okay, another Predaplants. Yeah, Predaplants are interesting. You know, you put a bunch of little counters all over the field. I really like some of their bigger fusion monsters, but it's hard to compete with the incredibly powerful interruptions we have, like Karma Cannon, Torrential Tribute, Elemental Burst. I guess he bricked. Oh well, we did not brick. Grass, he had Nash Blossom. Okay, now things are a little trickier. Probably should have tried to bait it out with Foolish Burial, but at the same time, it's nice. Okay, get a Conquistador, send an Eldlich. He can get the Cursed Eldland off the field so we can attack with all our monsters. Send some follow-up. Again, this combo of like having Monster Reborn or obviously Selene, and then being able to send Diabellstar to grave is pretty fantastic. With the Magician Souls, rather. Yep, Selene. You've seen this combo. Selene, access code. Who said back row decks can't combo? Not me. I also like that the combo is pretty like linear. Like it's not as confusing as something like B Troopers, for example. G to the G. Get out. All right, let's go over some deck profiles. First, we'll do the deck profile for the festival, because that's the one that you saw the most of. I won't go over too many of the Eldlich cards. You already know about them by now. We just have a couple of extra Eldlich spells so that we have things that we can discard off of Diabellstar or Magician Souls to, you know, get extra value. The Revived Sky God package is you have a couple of Sliffers, a couple of Revived Sky Gods who summon the Slifer out, make you draw 6. Slifer Floodgate goes for a turn, and then obviously a Monster Reborn because you can banish this card from your grave to place a Monster Reborn on top of your deck and so on. So that's kind of the first Yugi-Atem component. The second is Magical Hats. We have a beautiful Royal Rare Magical Hats. It's a way to get an Elemental Burst plus a rollback on the field, which, I mean, probably that's about the type of interaction that you need to be able to get out of magical hats, where it's like I literally blow up your entire board, just because when you have a trap like this that you only activate during the battle phase, like it's very reactionary. Same thing with like a mirror force or something. It's possible for them to use some card that targets a back row and pops it, and with like Destructive Karma Cannon, Trap Trick, Paleozoic Marilla, all these other traps we have, like, we can react to that. So it's kind of a little bit weaker in that way. Also, if you've activated an Eldlich that turn, I don't, Magical Hats, like, doesn't let you special summon. It doesn't treat them as any particular type of monster, but you're locked into summoning zombie monsters, and I guess whatever I guess transaction rollback is not considered a zombie monster, believe it or not. So you can't use it after you've activated Eldlich, something to keep in mind. Lastly, we have Magician Souls. In order to be able to run with Reasoning, I run the one Magician Souls and a couple of Illusion of Chaos. These basically search out Magician Souls and put themselves back in the deck. So Reasoning only stops when you hit a monster that can be normal summoned. This can't because it's a ritual monster, so it'll just keep getting sent to grave. I prefer that over having like 2 or 3 Magician Souls with like 1 or 0 Illusion of Chaos. The Diabell Star package, during the festival I was running with a second Diabell Star just because she's our main way, where if we draw a Slifer, we can get her in the grave. Otherwise, ways of getting Slifer in the grave, we have Foolish Burial to just send it to the grave immediately. Diabell Star if we drew it. Reasoning, they'll usually call level 10 once they know that you're a Eldlich deck, so that'll send Slifer directly to the grave, but otherwise it'll special summon it, and then Slifer will send itself to the grave the turn after it was special summoned, so that's another way. And then finally, obviously, you have Grass, which sends like 20 plus cards to the grave. Everything else is pretty standard. I changed a couple of the link monsters from probably the last video you saw. We have the Vampire Sucker. Just it's nice to be able to link summon even when you're locked into zombies after activating one of your Eldlich spells or traps. Azalea is really nice. You can use light or dark monsters, so Magician Souls and your Eldlich trap monsters can go together to basically destroy a single card. And we also threw in the Vampire Fascinator. Usually if you can make a link 3 though, you'll always make Selene into access code. Like, it's very rare. Even though I love Blackluster Soldier, and he was obviously from the original Yugi-Atem, we end up going Selene in access code most of the time. That's pretty much everything. Let's talk about if you wanted to take this on the ranked ladder. Some other changes I made. We have the Horus engine, which is obviously 4 of these guys. I run 3 of the King Sarcophagus when I do these 60 card mill decks, just because you really like to see it. You don't want to accidentally send it to grave. Sometimes I like to add Duameth, the other Horus monster. Sometimes I don't. Other changes. Let's see. We have this ratio. It's kind of pretty heavy on monsters to also run with Reasoning, but you just kind of accept that Reasoning's only going to mill like 5 or some. Paired up with Chicken Game to get those draws and to make it so Magician Souls has more cards to send to grave to get draws. And also we're running Fiend Comedian in ranked because there are a lot more decks that have like 10 or 15 cards you put in grave, and then there's a good chance that you'll be able to get a mill off of that. We run Guardian of the Golden Land just because these are rank 8. It makes it easier to make your rank 8 plays. We brought back Numeron Dragon and Draglubion combo, just basically anytime you're not running like a Dogmatica package or something else that takes up extra deck space, we like to run this as a way to 1-turn kill your opponent. That's pretty much everything. I hope you enjoyed being able to resolve magical hats and summon Slifer the Sky Dragon while having decent synergy with Eldlich the Golden Lord. See you in the next video. Peace.